So you're going to have government and the media teaming up together against the new media. The establishment can't have us on air, unseating them. They're not going to go without a fight. Now, that said, I want you to talk about this and get your take on it. The people have had this taste, though, for alternative, for real variety. Do you think they're going to be able to be successful in the long run, keeping people from this information now that they've had a taste of it?
Depends how subtle they are at it. Everything they do is incrementalism, like they're taking it out of the Fabian playbook. But their greatest fear is that the myth of the free press will become, in fact, unmasked, that we will know that it's no longer, if it's in the New York Times, that it's legit. And they are going to do anything they can to keep the average person unaware of exactly what we're talking about.
Well, exactly. They admit the Defense Department finances most of the TV and media, and it's all fake news. So there you go, discredited there. Pepperspray.com. We live in an unpredictable world, and as everyone knows, I'm all about preparedness. Remember, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That's why I want you to visit our new sponsor, Pepperspray.com, to check out their wide variety of personal security products they have available on their website. Since 1994, Pepperspray.com has made your personal safety their number one priority. So give them a call at 1-800-908-9988. Again, that number is 1-800-908-9988. Or visit them at pepperspray.com and give yourself some peace of mind. On the web since 94, sell a wide variety of personal safety and security products. You're not only getting security, but peace of mind you deserve as well. Free shipping on orders above $99. Pepper spray of all kinds and strengths, stun guns and tasers, animal repellents, home safety, personal alarms, and much more. Pepperspray.com. You can go to her website, ROLLYE.net, Rollye.net. Rollye James is our guest syndicated radio talk show host. Anybody can hear her who's got XM on channel 158 for everybody out there. She's on 9 to midnight Central Standard Time. Okay, Rollye, let's go right back to this issue of First Amendment for anything else you want to add on that front. Then I want to get into, I want to get your take on this. They're phrasing it that Obama is this wonderful guy who released the torture memos. But what he's done is come out and confirm what was already public and say they were following orders, so they're protected, reversing the Nuremberg principle of just following orders doesn't cover it when you're, say, raping people in front of their husbands to get answers, as they admit they did. So finish up any First Amendment comments, and then I want to get your take on that.
I think Obama, in addition to everything we're talking about on a personal level, has been schooled his entire lifetime to dislike and distrust the press unless he could manipulate it. And you talked very often about what he was doing on the campaign to reporters. So what they've got here is, in addition to all their plans, they have someone who's emotionally poised to implement whatever it takes.
Yeah, he really is slippery. I think he's more slippery than Bill Clinton, because it always sounds great, but when you look right below the surface, it's always 170 or 180. Sometimes it's a little true, but usually it's about 180 degrees a lie. You know, it's just totally away from the truth.
Yes.
And now I've got Democrats writing editorials attacking me. I've got one here today, and she says, yeah, he's lied about a bunch of stuff. He lied about things a little too quickly. It would have been all right if he'd lied later, but, you know, he did go back on his promises a little too quick. But still, Alex, you're the liar, but never says what I'm lying about.
Well, they have to reposition you. They have to shoot the messenger. Whenever you've got a situation where the message is irrefutable, you've got to come at it at another angle, and you know that. So demonizing you is the easiest way for them to remain in control, to make it seem that you are truly the lunatic fringe. So therefore,
but it's ridiculous, like you said, though. This lady that wrote this latest hit piece, it's from Maneater. It doesn't say anything I'm wrong about. It just says he's a crazy, he's a nut, flying saucers. I don't talk about flying saucers.
Right, but they have to shoot the messenger. They'll claim you came off of the flying saucers if they have to.
That's a good one.
Unfortunately, it's tremendously effective, because this is what I was saying before about the myth of the free press. The bulk of the population still buys it. For instance, the people who will say, if it's in the National Enquirer, I don't believe it, but if it's in the New York Times, I do. Well, with that litmus test, I'll take the Enquirer over the Times every day of the week. But people want to remain in that comfortable place where, oh, but it's not in the New York Times. So they still have what they want. They won't for long, and they know this, and they're seeing the cracks in it. And, yeah, regardless of what they say about you for the record, they know how many people have watched your movies collectively, and they know that's in the tens of millions of people. So at this point, anything they can do to demonize you, they will, because it's the only tool they've got.
Well, I just hope it's not a prelude to something else. You've had a lot thrown at you over the years, been syndicated across the land. What is it like, though, Rollye, to go from, well, people always listen to you because you always had the facts and were very convincing, but still, some people disagreed, to where now, more and more, everything we've said is almost passé now. It's just all out in the open, but they just put a different spin on it. The establishment does that it's a good thing.
Well, that's the key. After they're done demonizing you, the next thing is to say, well, what he's saying is all folly. Of course, this is what he thought it was, but he's getting 2 and 2 to equal 22, and it's always been 4. And that's the method. And we're seeing that every day. Janet Napolitano backtracking on the DHS thing. Oh, well, no, we weren't actually trying to demean the military. In other words, reposition it. If they can't reposition you, the next thing they have to do is reposition the message.
But that's what a real tyranny does, is it starts spying on its own military and police, and we know they've been doing that all along. I don't see things going too well for the New World Order, though. I mean, I think it's going to be a rough ride, but I think they're in trouble. What do you think?
Well, the more people awaken, the more they are, and you see that worldwide. The thing that they're very much afraid of is that as people are personally hurting, human nature takes over, and just like the riots across the world where they said, hell no, you're not going to import foreigners to work here, we need these jobs, people do turn to self-protection, and that's a great fear. So they know what they're up against. But, I mentioned the Fabians earlier, and you've talked about them a lot, too. The incrementalism, do everything in small increments. Well, what's happened now is we're on an exponential multiplier. We're now at the point where, in fact, it can be implemented. And so a lot of people are going for it. Do it all now. And you saw that with a lot of the early, well, you're still seeing it, but the really early legislation out of Obama. Get it all in now.
All right, long segment coming up. We'll also take a few calls. 1-800-259-9231. She's Rollye James. Rollye.net, ROLLYE.net. I'm Alex Jones. Infowars.com. Stay with us. More straight ahead.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Man, isn't life amazing? We're on this planet spinning through the dark void of space. I'm sitting here talking to Rollye James. I'm in Austin, Texas. There are people listening all over the world. The establishment doesn't like this. They call the internet the worldwide wiretap. They want to build the grid, get us used to using it, get us addicted, just like YouTube is a microcosm, then take the freedom away, kick us off, and then that's the whole system. And that's basically what's happening. Your calls are coming up here in just a few minutes. Rollye, there's so much going on. I shouldn't just be throwing out the questions here. What are some other subjects you think are important to get into? And that said, before we get into that, I think they've really miscalculated with these reports coming out saying the troops are the number one threat, gun owners are threats, people buying ammo are basically terrorists, pro-lifers are basically terrorists, people against open borders are basically terrorists. The secret police are really getting exposed right now.
They are, but it's a great indoctrination tool because they'll backpedal from this. In other words, put the worst possible spin on it out. Oh, no, but that's not what we mean. Now, here's why we're saying this. And the other day when I heard the comment about, we have to look at the military because look at Timothy McVeigh. And I thought to myself, well, let's take that logic now and let's just consistently expand it and say, well, if we're looking at the military because of Timothy McVeigh, then we've got to look at the federal central government because of Adolf Hitler. So, the reality, though, is that they will give you, the worst shock. And then when they pedal back, people will say, oh, see, it's not that bad. That's really what's happening. So I'm not sure they miscalculated.
It's incrementalism. You think they may have been leaking some of these on purpose?
Well, I think it's very possible. And, when we talk about it, you asked what's on my mind. And everybody talks about globalism, and they think about it as if it's an international thing. It's not. It's a supranational thing. There is a control level in globalism that makes the control level in our country look tame. But not only that, some of the documents I had sent you about the Bank of International Settlement, there's a lot more in this Basel II. And what's fascinating is when everybody jumped on Obama's statement, everybody in terms of like you and I and people who are awake, when it looked like, and it is, that he will go after compensation practices. Everybody thought, oh, my God. Well, that's right out of Basel II. There's three pillars. And the first one, of course, was the capital requirements, which is the way that they've decimated banking worldwide. But the next one, Pillar 2, is supervisory oversight. And right out of their documents, they talk about, in fact, including compensation practices.